General Elections April 2019. 6.7. Voting procedure for simultaneous elections. 6.7.1. The voters, when they enter the polling station, will proceed to the first polling officer. The first polling officer will identify the electors by verifying his epoch or other documents as prescribed by the Election Commission. 6.7.2. The voter will then move to second polling officer. The second polling officer will first apply the indelible ink mark on his left hand forefinger and ask him to sign or put thumb impression in the voter's register. If the voter puts his thumb impression, the polling officer should ask the voter to wipe off the residuary stamped bar ink from his thumb with a piece of wet cloth kept on the table for this purpose. 6.7.3. When the second polling officer will apply the indelible ink mark and take the signature or thumb impression of the voter in the register, the third polling officer, who will be sharing the table with the second polling officer, will prepare two identical voter slips, one on white paper and the other on pink paper, and after examining the finger of the voter to ensure that the indelible ink mark is duly applied and not erased, will hand over both the voter slips to the voter and direct him to the fourth polling officer. 6.7.4. Voting for Lok Sabha. After receiving the two voter slips enabling him to vote for Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha elections respectively, the voter will go to the fourth polling officer, who is in charge of the control unit for Lok Sabha election. He will hand over the white voter slip to the fourth polling officer. After satisfying that it is the turn of that voter to vote, the fourth polling officer shall press the ballot button on the control unit for the Lok Sabha election kept on his table and direct the voter to go into the voting compartment for Lok Sabha election. While doing so, the fourth polling officer should inform the voter that after voting for Lok Sabha, he should go with the pink voter slip to the fifth polling officer to vote for assembly election. 6.7.5. The voter will then enter the voting compartment for Lok Sabha election and vote for Lok Sabha election by pressing the blue button of the candidate of his choice on the balloting unit kept inside. 6.7.6. Voting for Vidhan Sabha election. After he has voted for Lok Sabha election, it shall be ensured that the voter goes to the fifth polling officer in charge of control unit for Vidhan Sabha election. After taking the pink voter slip from the voter and ensuring that now it is his turn to vote, the fifth polling officer shall activate the machine by pressing the ballot button on the control unit for assembly election and direct the voter to go inside the voting compartment for assembly election to vote. The fifth polling officer will also inspect the indelible ink mark to ensure that the same is intact.